What's up, Guardians? Profane here. Thanks for checking out the video. Revenant has introduced a lot of changes so far here in Destiny, and in today's video we're going to be addressing one such change, and that's the major update in the damage output of several different supers. The Stareater scale have seen a lot of adjustments in how they function with different supers. Chaos Reach has been improved, Twilight Arsenal has been dialed back, even Thundercrash and the Cuirass have gotten some adjustments. So in light of all this, we've gone and tested all the different supers with each class to determine which is the most powerful to use here in Revenant, and you'll be shocked by the results. Titans have seen the biggest changes so far in Revenant, so let's go ahead and start with those damage numbers. It's important to keep in mind that we are not using any debuffs with this testing, but with some simple math we can easily add on the bonus 15 or 30% extra damage that a debuff would provide. We are only testing the damage of supers in today's video, so we will not be incorporating any weapon damage, and we have used the Grasp of Avarice Ogre boss as our test subject. With that said, let's get started. With the Titan class, we tested out 12 different super variations, with the lowest registering in at 397,000 points of damage, with the highest dealing out almost 1,000,000 points of damage. We tested the Pyrogale gauntlets with its single-shot burning maul, and I was extremely upset to find that it only put out 474,000 points of damage, which is just 100,000 points more than burning maul without any exotic boosting. With Bungie increasing the damage of the Pyrogale, I was expecting much more, but then again this is a single-shot super, giving you plenty of time to use your weapons instead. We tested out 3 different variations of Thundercrash. At its base, Thundercrash puts out around 526,000 points of damage. When it gets partnered with the Stareaters, that damage gets bumped up to around 800,000 points of damage. And when it's used with the Cuirass, we get around 790,000 points, putting these two exotics right in the same ballpark. We tested out Twilight Arsenal with and without the Stareaters. Without the use of the Stareaters, Twilight Arsenal puts up around 547,000 points of damage. But with the Stareaters, that gets bumped up to 714 points of damage, which was surprising to say the least, after Thundercrash put up as much damage as it did. We tested out the Glacial Quake stasis super with the use of the Stareaters, and this is a bit of a wild card, because it's all about the placement of your crystals. If you can get the boss in the right positioning and get those crystals to bust all around him, you can push that super damage up to around 1,000,000 points. But if you get those crystals in a bad position, you could be looking at anywhere between 500 and 700,000 points of damage, which is still very impressive. And just to note, that is without the use of Hail the Storm. We tested out Hammer of Soul with both Prismatic and Solar, and I was surprised to see that there wasn't a whole lot of difference between these damage numbers. On a standard Solar class, Hammers puts out around 440,000 points of damage, and when it's used with Stareaters, you're getting around 450,000 points of damage. We tested out Bladefury with 2 different variations, one with Syntho and the other with Stareaters. Syntho can be hit or miss, because it relies on having biotic enhancements active, whereas Stareaters guarantees a more reliable damage bonus, and it shows because Bladefury with Stareaters is able to put up around 900,000 points of damage, whereas the Synthos comes in at around 820,000 points. So rounding out the top 3 supers for Titan, we have Bladefury with Stareaters, Thundercrash with either Stareaters or Cuirass, and a surprising pick, the Glacial Quake with Stareaters. And with that, we move on to Warlocks, where we tested out 9 different super variations, with the damage output ranging between 200,000 points of damage and as much as 900,000 points of damage. We started with Song of Flame with the Stareater scale. This super puts up just around 700,000 points of damage, but when we use the Song of Flame with the Spirit of Necrotic and Spirit of Claw, we're able to put up around 20,000 points of additional damage. We tested out Dawnblade with the use of the Dawn Chorus exotic helmet, and with all the bonus Scorch damage getting applied, this combination put up just shy of 890,000 points of damage. We tested out Stormtrance with the Stareaters, and I was really happy to see that this put up 753,000 points of damage. But it is over a much longer span of time, eliminating your ability to deal optimal weapon damage. We also tested out Chaos Reach with the Geomag stabilizers, and I was very pleased with the performance of this super, as it put up an astonishing 898,000 points of damage, coming in as the top ranking super for Warlocks. We also tested out Needlestorm, and I was not pleased with the performance of this super, as it only puts out around 440,000 points of damage. Nova Bomb was able to put up just over 700,000 points of damage whenever it's used with Stareaters, and even though I knew it wasn't going to put up much damage, we tested out the Wrathweaver super with the Stareater scale, and it put up even less damage than I was expecting, only dealing out around 220,000 points of damage. We even tested out the Nova Warp super, which is more attuned towards crowd control, but nevertheless we wanted to see how much damage it would do, and it put up around 450 points of damage, which is still better than Wrathweaver. Overall, there's a lot of balance between these supers, but here in Revenant, you'll find the most success out of using Chaos Reach with the Geomag stabilizers, Dawnblade with the Dawn Chorus, and Stormtrance with Stareaters. And with that, we move on to the Hunter class, where we tested out 8 different super variations, with the range spreading from as much as 800,000 points of damage to as low as 100,000 points. As far as our lowball supers go, Silence and Squall put up a measly 390,000 points of damage, even with the added benefit of the Stareater scale. Tether with Stareaters put up 94,000 points of damage, which I wasn't really expecting it to put up any more than that, as this super amplifies other sources of damage. We tested out Spectral Blades, and that registered in at about 540,000 points of damage, which is honestly a lot more than I thought it would deal out, but that's also with the benefits of Stareaters. We tested out Gathering Storm with the Stareaters, and it put out just over 670,000 points of damage. Silk Strike with Stareaters put up quite a bit more damage, coming in at 786,000 points. The 3-shot Golden Gun with Stareaters racked up a total of 624,000 points of damage, which ended up being a great deal more than the Celestial Nighthawk with the 1-shot super, which only put up 459,000 points of damage, but that does give you the best ability to deal out a lot of weapon damage. We tested out Storm's Edge with Stareaters, and I was very surprised to see that this super put up the most damage of any Hunter super, coming in at 827,000 points of damage, and it still gives you plenty of time to add in weapon damage. So rounding out the top 3 for Hunters, we have Storm's Edge with Stareaters, Silk Strike with Stareaters, and Gathering Storm with the Stareaters. And when we look at all 3 classes together, our top 3 performing supers are Bladefury with the Stareaters, Chaos Reach with the Geomag stabilizers, and Storm's Edge with Stareaters. But just keep in mind that Golden Gun, Nova Bomb, and Thundercrash can be performed at the start of a damage phase, giving you plenty of time to be able to use all of your weapons. But even still, this is quite a bit of a shift in what we've been used to out of the last few months, where the Twilight arsenal had really ran the show for Titans. But one thing does continue to remain the same. The Stareater scale is by far the best choice for optimal damage output with any of the 3 classes. And with that said, that brings us to an end of today's video, where we have performed an updated test on all of the available super options for each class here in Destiny 2 Final Shape. Thank you all for checking out the video. If you enjoyed and found it helpful, then be sure to hit that like button below, along with the subscribe button if you're new. Both are greatly appreciated, and both really do help support the channel. If you're a new Light Guardian just starting your journey, or a battle-hardened veteran just looking for a new place to call home, then be sure to check out the Discord link that's down in the description, and join one of the greatest communities in all of Destiny. And if you're in need of a great build to take on any of the activities in Revenant, then be sure to check out my Mobalytics link that's down in the description, where you'll be able to find a ton of great in-game builds for every class. But until next time, Guardians, this has been Profane, wishing you all some happy hunting.